On social media platforms today, quality content often goes unnoticed. On DEN, users get paid for the creation, evaluation, and curation of quality content. Content creators are rewarded based upon the engagement and reach of their post or comment. Content evaluators are rewarded based upon the speed and results of their predictions about which content will trend or go viral. Community owners are rewarded based on engagement within their community. On DEN, quality content pays.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Super Happy Dragon Lucky episode 0x41. It's the 66th episode that we've had, and today we're going to do a good overview, high-level overview of DEN and all of the things about it at a level that isn't, at the white paper level, so that it's hopefully more understandable. We'll do an AMA at the end if anybody has any good questions. So to start off this week, a few updates. We had a bunch of really good interviews just go out. We had, let's see here, we had the Bully Esquire podcast interview. It was actually really good, pretty lengthy, an hour 22 minutes, if you can imagine that. And I don't think that we touched on politics at all, which is probably good. But some really good questions about what has been, what happened, and what is coming with Dragonchain and DEN also in particular. So really good info. Also, another very non-technical based, or at least focused interview with the Mr. Future of Work, Tim. It was actually really fun and really a good interview, and I think that I didn't actually get his last question answered. So, Tim, if you want us back on, I can actually answer that question. I realized it after the fact, and I haven't been able to ping you yet. Also, we have, let's see here, where did it go? So we had Girl Gone Crypto with Leah. That was also, we recorded it quite a while ago, but it was a really good interview that just went out this past week. I probably some of the best questions I've ever been asked for any of the interviews, so it was really easy to do that interview. We also have Crypto Windy O is apparently going to be putting an interview out this week that we recorded a while ago. It was very short. I think an elevator pitch style. I think it was 15 minutes, so it won't be too long, but it's a good interview also, of course. So thanks to all of you for having us in, and we were surprised they all dropped this week. It's pretty cool. So next up, we have the FOMO hunt, number go up, and we're going to do Bitcoin again. We tend to do Bitcoin a lot, especially lately. So last week, number go up, right? And the analyst forecast for next week, number go up. So one way or another, let's hope that we see more of the same for all of crypto coming up. And I just realized I wasn't sharing any of the screens for any of that stuff. Apologies. It's just me today. So this let's see here. Let me actually get in here for this and set everything up. Apologies. That one way or another, we will get this all right. And we're going to be doing the DEN overview, but in front of that we have a few updates. Basically, ongoing prep for the rollout is still going on. We have a lot of things moving at the same time. The token contracts, the actual development in back end and UI for the web app, but then we're also getting the mobile app ready. It will we do expect it will be released sometime shortly as a beta, so be ready for all of that. We have let's see here, the first piece of all of this we expect to be going out this week, and hopefully that's midweek, but later week it'll be pretty exciting stuff. But it's just the first piece of many to drop, so be prepared and watch and follow us on Twitter, both Dragonchain Gang and Real Denizens, to keep up with all of those goings on. So without further ado, we're going to basically, let's see here, which one am I supposed to run here? We're going to do the full overview right after this.
Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.
All right, we're back, and we're going to run this. Let's see here now. Apologies. Oh boy. All right, let's see here. Apologies. This is great, huh? Why is that? Oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm having difficulty here, guys. Okay. Oh boy. Not what we wanted. Sorry guys. Here, 1 second. I'll be... Oh boy. I'm just gonna get this set up. This is 10 overview public. Oh boy, here we go. All right, finally. Jeez. Okay. Wow, that was nice, wasn't it? Apologies. All right, so here we go. So this is the den overview. In the if anyone was in the early beta, this was the blue paper, but it is rebuilt with all of the updates. And you need to know that Den is powered by Dragonchain, of course. Originally a Dragonchain product. It was spun off, and it is its own thing. Many of us are still working on it, of course, as Dragonchain owns a piece of it. So every single transaction, every single thing that happens on it is, of course, on Dragonchain, on the blockchain, and that's some of the beauty behind what it does and how it does it and why it does it. So what is DEN? It's a social platform built on Dragonchain. The answer to fake news, trolling, and censorship incentivizes the creation and the evaluation of quality content within individual communities. And about that, it is important that, when you think about, how do you score the quality of content? How do you measure that? And you can't measure that globally necessarily, because how then do I determine good content about a particular subject versus bad content when it's mixed in with everything else, let alone the measure very much is, you need some scoping to that. So it's an interesting thing, and we modeled some things from different existing social networks and platforms that we knew that there were good things, obviously, about some of them, and some things that they did not solve, or that maybe it wasn't an interest, or maybe they didn't know enough early on to solve it. But issues that occur inside of communities and on platforms that we tried to address for DEN. So key concepts. A layer is that scoping, is that community. So it's a community-focused forum that can be owned by an individual or a group of individuals. Within a layer, users can create posts, they can create replies, they can interact with posts and replies with upvotes and downvotes. And this is very much, if you were to consider something that already exists, this is what a subreddit is. DEN models that same concept of, okay, here's a community. Could be big, could be small, could be very academic, could be very fun, it could be very serious, or not serious at all. And it is something that encapsulates that community's culture. And the culture can change over time, but the people that are part of the community pretty much drive that culture. A post is a piece of content that resides within a layer. It's a top-level piece of content. So, when you go in and you create a post, it is literally, hey, here's something that the community may be interested in, right? And here, let me see if I can pull up. Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to be running some demo of some of this stuff in a bit, so you can see it more closely. A reply, obviously, a reply is that you can engage with a post, and you can give feedback or extra info, or everything you would normally do with a reply on Twitter, on Reddit, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. So all of those types of things, right? Next up, content creators. These are the user roles, right? And so you just saw the ad about the user roles at a high level that we're hoping to play various places in the coming months, mostly online, but also potentially other places. Of the roles, we have 4 major pieces, okay, that are 4 major roles. You have content creators, which are users who create content and earn rewards for high quality contributions, right? So if you create an amazing post, ideally original content that brings some great new insight to the community values it, they vote it up, you are rewarded. You're directly rewarded, okay? Now, how do we determine how much you are rewarded, or how do we determine which posts deserve reward? Which posts are the actual good content? That is given to us by the content evaluator role. So a content evaluator is a user that reviews content and evaluates it for quality, credibility, whatever makes sense for the culture in that community. It could be for humor, but they vote on it. And so we basically set up, and you'll see some of this as we really start to roll this out, that the content evaluators are actually competing with each other to predict the best content as received by a community. So you don't even necessarily have to agree with the content. You just have to be able to predict, will this community value this content? And if the consensus in the community is yes, this is really good content, then the evaluator can serve a few roles. Number one is obviously to evaluate which content should get the most rewards, but it's also a time function, that is to try as soon as possible to determine, to predict which content is good and which is bad. So so they're competing against each other to try to find the best content soonest and vote it up, and to find the worst content soonest and vote it down. And the better they do at that prediction, the more they are rewarded in matter mining at the end of every day. So it's a very interesting function, and it's very competitive. But at the same time, if you're just a casual voter and you're just a member of the community, you don't have to consider that you are being rewarded or not based upon this. You can literally just say, okay, that's really good content. I'm going to throw in my my weight and say I like this content. It's fitting, it's quality, or I don't. And that then, basically gives you the entire measure that you need for how to reward content creators on which content was actually the most fitting for this community. And so the whole thing, and of course the content creators are competing with each other in an open market to provide the best quality content across the spectrum, in any layer that they want to interact with. So then we move on. A very, very important role to this whole thing is the layer owner. And that, normally in most groups you have a few different models. Like say in Reddit, you have an owner of a subreddit, and you can have managers and moderators or admins that can help you work in that community, and moderate content, or keep the trolls out and things like that are very normal these days. But with Den, that ownership is tokenized, and it's actually an NFT based tokenization, where when a layer is created, tokens are issued, and we'll get into some of the token pieces in a minute here, but you actually hold one or more NFT to basically mark your ownership of that layer. And with those NFT, you actually get mining rewards based upon all activity within that layer. So the intent of this role is obviously to fill the moderator and owner and kind of the founding members of these communities, these layers, but it very much is another competition. It's an open marketplace for layers, and the most active, most valuable layers will generate the most matter, and the layer owners will basically get a piece of that for their establishment and for their ongoing work, moderation, which a lot of it can't even be simply building the community, getting the right people in there, going out to other social media and pulling people in. It can't even be to pay for early content if that makes sense, or to try to bring in people who will produce original content. So it's a really, really good system, and we've been testing it almost a year in beta, and there are a couple of other pieces tied to layer owners that you really will want to know about. It's very interesting how you get ownership and things like this. So that's coming up in a couple of slides. The last, and in our opinion the most important role in Den, is the content consumer. These are the people, for those of you asking about all the complexity, and this is behind the scenes reasonably complex. It's very well balanced, but we've had comments that it's a little bit too complex. People might not be able to understand it. that's not the point of it. I mean, we're putting out a lot of this information for people who want to know how to benefit, how to build, how to do things with this system with DEN. But in the end, the final goal, the end goal for all of this is a better experience for the content consumer. So a normal person of any stripe can come in, not care about the economy, not care about voting, not care about creating content, obviously, and not care about owning a layer. They just want the best quality content on whatever subject they love. Politics. Is it about mechanical keyboards? Is it some hobby thing that they do? That if that layer is there, it is the goal and the prediction of me and Den that a system like this, well balanced with a proper economy, will actually drive the best content and drive its speed to the best content within each of these layers. So next, we'll get into the actual tokens. This is the interesting part if you want to know how it works behind the scenes. So the first token is Matter. We'll get into all of them, and they have various interactions. But Matter is the most important token in the system. It is the token which rewards quality content and evaluation and ownership. And you're basically it's minted every day on the Ethereum blockchain. It is an ERC20. It is mined every day on the DEN system. Okay, so users receive Matter for producing quality content, or for evaluating quality content, and or for owning a layer that produces quality content. You can also purchase Matter on the outside, of course, and there will be reasons for that, which are some of the more advanced reasons, especially for businesses or brands. But there is a reason that you would purchase Matter and bring it into the system as a utility token and use it on a couple of boosting scenarios that we'll be rolling out soon. So Matter, again, it's an ERC20. The supply is Fibonacci Prime 433, 494, 437. However, that total supply won't be mined, won't be minted for 1,357 approximate years. That we are minting, like I said, 1,000 Matter every day. And we're doing it on Zulu time on the 0 hour of UTC. And one way or another, those are then mined on the inside. So we calculate what is your share every day of those 1,000 that are minted on Ethereum. So it's a beautiful system. It will all be fully smart contract based, all of the mining, all the minting, everything else, with interactions to the hybrid side on Dragonchain where DEN is running. So that's Matter. Next, very closely tied to Matter is Energy. So Energy is a utility token. It's non-transferable. It only exists within DEN. It is not something that it lives on Ethereum at all. And this is our bridge between that value and the fluidity of its use inside DEN. That if you had to vote with a token that potentially is worth more than it is today, a lot of people won't vote, right? So although it would be scarcity, it would be a little bit too scarce. So Energy is designed to solve that. That Energy is somewhat similar to Dragonchain's time system, but it's how do I say this? It's used to create posts. It's used to reply. It's used to vote. Every single thing within the DEN system costs energy to do. All of the main the primary functions. You get 1 energy every day for every 1 Matter that you have in your account. Okay, and that's the Matter that you hold in your local account. Now, new users and users with 0 energy, with 0 Matter, will actually get 24 energy every day. So one way or another, it's refreshed every hour. So every hour, if you have no matter as an example, you will get 1 new energy. And as you spend it, it won't come back until the next hour, and you're capped at 24. And if you can look at the formulas in the white paper to really see the detail of how it works. But it's set up so that new users don't have to have matter to vote. And even people who are, you think about it, just I'm a content consumer, but this post is so amazing. I'm going to log in and I'm going to vote on it, right? Or I really need to reply to it. So there's something built in already, and the mechanism based upon time is intended to create scarcity, early scarcity for unevaluated reputations, and it's also set up so that we can kind of curtail people spamming the world, especially if they don't really know how the system works so much. But it's set up so that somebody can come in and they can actually participate in a reasonable way, very simply. So let's see here. Next up, so matter and energy interact together. Your matter very much determines how much energy you receive in a 24-hour period, so you want to generate more matter. On top of the fact, you might want to do other things with matter. In the very least, its primary utility is to create energy in order to vote and do things on DEN. Okay, so providing quality content or evaluating content earns you matter, which in turn earns you energy. So if you're working in a system and you're producing a lot of good quality content, you're going to end up with a pretty high matter balance and therefore a really high energy balance. And with that, you can post more, you can do more, you can vote more, which is the big thing, because that really gets you to the point where you can start evaluating content and taking part, competing with other people doing that. So that's all of the tokenization for for voting, replying, everything else. Now we're going to get into the layer ownership modeling and how we have tokenized these things. So there are 2 tokens involved with layer ownership. I told you about the NFT. We'll hit that in a second here. This is layer ownership rights. So this is a token with a relatively high supply, 2.9 billion approximate, that is intended to it's the only token that you can use to create new layers. Okay, so its entire purpose is to create new layers. There are going to be some other utilities involved as well, including paying for a business layer, things that if you're a brand or business and you want your own layer that's not a community run layer, that you would need lore to do that. The interesting thing is that we're going to be giving 1 lore for every dragon that you hold, and we'll have the timing and everything else somewhere announced. Den will on Real Denizens on Twitter, but one way or another, if you have dragons on whatever date that is, that you will get a lore for every dragon you hold, and that will be claimable in your account. It will be locked in your account. It won't be an airdrop for legal reasons, but there are some good things around that will give you very early access with layer creation. Hopefully in the first month will be coming up pretty soon. And we also will have, the Royal We, Den will have made this available for purchase outside. At some point, I think that Den will probably be able to sell lore inside the actual app itself, but we'll see that. That's something we just have to put together and make sure we're doing everything safely and securely. And it will be farmable. This is good. Lore will be the token that has a pretty major DeFi component to it. And the intent there is to get it in the hands of people to come in and compete and create new layers, right? And that's the point of this, for early adoption, to create a utility token, which will have utility day one. Immediately, there will be a contract that is in place that allows you to with interactions inside of the DEN app and backend systems themselves will be able to create layers. So it's a beautiful thing, and I'll get into some of the process of that in a bit here. Okay. So next up, tied to lore, layer ownership rights, is layer ownership tokens, LOT, right? So it's a non-fungible token, NFT, for ownership of a specific layer. LOT can only be created and converted from lore. All right, so LOT is an ERC 1155, and it is going to actually hold lore that were used to create it, or the LOT contract. So, you know, one way or another, it's a one-to-one relationship that, and I think that'll be on this slide right here, that for every LOT that is in existence, there will be a lore locked in the contract on Ethereum that basically ties it to the balance anyway, to the LOT that you hold. And there are reasons for that, because and that is, by the way, why, if anyone asks, the supply is so large, because the way that we do layer creation, it is not a one token, one layer thing. It is, it can be, but in almost all cases, even today, before we've rolled out LOT, that our community process. So we have what was called LCP, layer creation process. We're trying to come up with a good name for it right now. But one way or another, every month, there's a limited number of new layers created. We don't have the formula for it yet, but it's going to be something based upon adoption and activity on the system. So the more adoption, the more activity on the current layers, the more layers will be opened up each month. And the reason for that was to create a more organic process where it's not something where you'll have people squatting on layers that they don't intend to be actually active yet. That, you know, we want very much to be a drive. And because of this, we tested this out in beta, and it works remarkably well. I mean, it worked way beyond my expectations. That we say, let's say that we're going to open up 5 new layers this month, right? And so people go in and they propose a new layer, and they say, okay, I really think we should have a politics layer, or a layer about mechanical keyboards, right? And so you make a proposal. In that proposal, you have things about, you know, why does this fit now? What overlaps in community do we have to make sure that it's an active and you know, well-placed layer, well-timed anyway, and you know, generally what I would consider should be involved in, you know, you can have cultural parts of the proposal and everything else to say, here's how I want to run it. People can come in and they can vote on your proposal, and they're basically voting with lore, and there will be voting both inside of DEN and outside of DEN on Ethereum directly. So there will be it'll be it's a hybrid system, so these things will be running at the same time, and the winning layers, so the layers that get the 5 layers that get the most votes, will be all turned on, right? The lore that went into those 5 will be converted to LOT and sent, or basically the people who own the contracts will go and pull those LOT out, and you know, so now they own the LOT. And to get back to my main point, that means that I might put 50,000 lore in to create this layer so that I own 20%. And then, you know, the rest of the community puts, you know, anything from 1 up to however much lore they have to create that layer. it produces those lot, and now they have the NFT, so they could, if they want, retain their share. They could, give it to other people. They could sell it to other people. I believe that there will be integrations with OpenSea so that you can sell the lore and actually see, what is the daily or monthly average of matter produced in that layer, and therefore how much should I expect this share of lot to produce daily if that continues. And you might have reasons for doing that as well, because again, it's a market, and you might say, I really want to take I really want to take these and produce something better. I want to add something to it. I might, maybe I have a big following, and if I go into that layer which is associated with my existing community, it might be particularly valuable for me to come in and with others build this new community. And we've actually seen because it is a decentralized ownership model, that we've seen a lot more activity than I would have ever expected for some of the layers that have been created, because they basically are built where there's a driver for these people to be bringing in new content and participating inside of that community. It's pretty cool. And we think that this is a huge piece of it. And of course, you can see the two new logos for those. Let's see here. Then, okay, so we'll go into payout period info. So every hour, energy is generated based upon the amount of matter a user holds. So you'll produce a small amount of, if you hold 1 matter, let's say, you'll produce a small amount of matter based upon that, and you'll produce 1 matter based upon the new user, or the free energy side of the equation, where if you have no matter at all, you'll at least get 1 new energy every day up to a cap of 24. And then every 24 hours, matter, a function is run that pulls all of the activity in the entire system, all of the posts, replies, all the upvotes, all the downvotes, all the ways that people will get rewarded for the post and for conversations under the post, and how the layer owners are rewarded. This all happens in this one process every 24 hours, and it basically drops into your account, and now you have the matter, and now you're going to produce more energy that day, and everything else is as we already described. And it, the matter should be, and if you want detail, of course, hit the white paper, because it has all the detail there. But if you have positively participated, that is, you've created good content, you've owned a layer, or you've evaluated and gotten into the trending list with your evaluation, so you predicted well, that you will get a cut. But it's interesting too that activity itself also generates it. So if someone makes a post, there's an energy cost to that post, and part of that energy will go to the layer. Part of it will go to Den itself. And if maybe I should describe a reply, because a reply is split, where part of its energy will go to the post or reply that it is replying to, and part of it goes to the post above that, and part of it goes to the layer. So every time someone replies, the energy actually goes and is used to determine these mining calculations for how much matter do you get. So you want to create a post that gets a ton of replies, because you're going to get, even if those replies don't get upvotes, you're still going to get some of the energy that it took to create those replies. It's a really nice system, and it's actually been working for again almost a year with pretty good effect. We've if you ever want to hear about the beta period or have any questions on that, there's a bunch that I can talk about there that we learned in this process and have adjusted. So and this is what I was talking about. So the activity costs themselves, a post costs 5 energy. If you post an image with your content, it's 8 energy. A reply, same way. It's 2 energy for a reply, but it's 3 energy if you want an image in there. And I think, by the way, on a post, I'm pretty sure that 8 applies also to video posts, but I'm not certain. And votes are one energy per vote, and yet a vote is not limited to one energy. And I wanted to, of course, you're gonna love this. I wanted to hit upon. Let's see if I can find it here, and show you, because this is an important point. All right, and if I can. Let's see here. I'm going to stop this, and hopefully it won't be too ugly and horrible for me to get it back. But I want to show this, and so you can see. Okay, I'm in DIN now, and you can see I have a decent amount of energy. I have a lot of matter because I've been since day one, and I'm going to upvote. So let's say Distant. We love Distant, right? He's been on the show many times. He's a great guy. So I'm going to upvote his post, right? So I click on it. Okay, and it's like let's say oh, I want to vote more, right? Let's say this is 2 hours ago, so it's based upon the hour, and so let's say I think this might go viral. So I'm going to vote it up. Let's say I'm going to vote it a bunch. I have a little bit of time to cancel. It's like I don't want to vote 4,000 on it. Sorry, Dave. But let's say I do want to vote 55 on it, right? You can see that the reason we do that, and by the way, it's a Fibonacci, 1, 2, 3, 5, right? So it goes up by Fibonacci so that you can more quickly vote big numbers. But the point of that is that you can put more weight in. Now there are interesting concepts that we do describe in the white paper on consensus. That if I vote up 10,000 energy onto Distance post here, he will only have the effect, if I'm the only one that votes on it, his effect will be basically a very small percentage of that. And as you get more consensus, so as people in the community also vote on it, up or down, that how do I say, that percentage goes up to 100%. So once you hit a large number of the community weighing in on this, now the energy is considered for 100% of its number. And the reason we did that is because this is one of the questions about, during the beta, we found that people were upvoting each other's posts, and in sharing that, basically, which didn't mean that it was a good evaluation. It was it was collusion, basically. And so this counters that, where you have to have a decent amount of weigh-in for it to have the same effect. And so one way or another, it's a very interesting component, and we know that it actually works. And the reason that why then do we have the big numbers? And it's because if you're in Reddit or Facebook and you're liking everything, let's say on Reddit, where I can vote up or down, that there's, first of all, there's no scarcity, so I can just vote up everything. It doesn't matter. I could put a bot and vote up everything. But with this, there is scarcity, so you can't. You have to build up enough energy to vote on everything if you wanted to do that. But what we really want to do is, instead of just having a single vote possible from everyone, we can have them weigh in. And the weigh in is basically the bet on your prediction. So it's basically saying, I'm going to put this much energy in on this post, saying I think it's going to go viral. And the more energy you put, the earlier you put it, and the more consensus that it gets, and the more upvoted it is, the more you will get as an evaluator, right? And the same thing on the other side, that consensus is used for the scoring of that content in the mining. So the more consensus you get and the more upvotes, the more matter you will mine. So all right, so now let me switch back and let's see here. Let me share. Sorry, that was my problem before, wasn't it? Did I do it? Yes, excellent. I don't know why I couldn't have done it the first time. Sorry, guys. So that's the one energy per vote, and a vote not being limited to a single energy, right? So it's It's an important point. Another piece that, of course, we have in here is the fact that you can edit your posts, you can edit your replies, and the reason we let you do this, and we know that some of the interesting things that people could do as trolls or attacks would be, I'm going to post something that's very agreeable to everybody in the community. They all upvote it. They all comment on how smart I am and everything else, and then I flip it and I make it totally different so everybody looks stupid, and then I basically share it around, and it's horrible. It's a bad thing. So with this, the great thing is all of your history is still captured on Dragonchain, and so anybody can see that you changed the image or that you changed the text or anything else. And at the same time, the more typical obviously is cases that I make a spelling error, that happens on Twitter all the time, obviously, and this gives you the ability to correct it. Pretty simple. And there is an interesting component to it as well, that you can't just come back a year later and easily edit something that you there's a time-based cost to an edit, and in the first 15 minutes it's free for everybody. If you own the lair, it's free. At least right now, we're looking at if that makes sense, but it was necessary because of announcement channels and things like this. We also there is a component of how many times you edit. So the more times you edit, the more expensive the next edit will be, and also the longer the time span is from the original post or reply to now, the more expensive it is, and it's a multiplier. So it's it becomes very expensive very quickly, but you have 15 minutes to make sure it's good. This on top of hopefully we'll have the ability to save drafts and things like that, which will also cut down on any actual costs to edit. But drafts will be there too, but they just aren't there yet. So layer creation. So we talked about this quite a bit already. So each month, a number of new layers will be announced. How many will be accepted, and hopefully after a while that'll be much larger. In the beta we did like say 2 or 3, or I think once we might have done 5 layers created. So basically, users propose the layers. New proposed layers are out there publicly for people to comment on, ask about, weigh in, potentially even add other ideas. So it's a very good community process, and and then if they people can then throw in lore, and it is very much a question of how valuable do you think this layer will be of the people that are coming together to create it. Do you think it's a good community around it? And if it is, then you can actually vote lore to either make sure that it's put over the top and actually is one of the select few that month. And if it is, then the whole thing's locked down. The lot is created. It's available for you to withdraw from the Ethereum smart contract, and then the layer basically starts functioning. And there will be interesting things where the difference between B2B, business to business layers versus community layers. That community layers created through this process will have no ongoing costs associated. They'll just run, and hopefully they'll be productive, and the owners will keep them moving along with good original content. The business layers will actually have a monthly cost based upon the amount of activity that they see. So if you wanted to come in and squat on a layer but not actually run it, that's fine, you can do it, but there will be a maximum fee which is not yet set. So if you come to us right now, you can probably get a good deal, but it'll basically be however much, and it'll be paid in lore, layer ownership rights. So you'll have to have enough lore to keep that branded layer running and if you don't, then it'll get shut down, and we don't know yet if it'll be auctioned or if it'll just be totally shut out. We haven't decided all of that stuff yet. But if your, how do I say this? If your branded business layer is actually producing content, has a good community, there are good activities going on, posts, replies, voting, then you will potentially have, I don't know if it'll be to zero fees or not, but it might be that you will have few fees involved. You can also create private layers. We have a few created, and we're still experimenting with some of that. There are interesting components around voting that, just so everyone knows, anything that occurs in a private layer will mine no matter, because of course it's not transparent, so we can't do that. Now there are energy use components to it, but it wasn't necessary it's run more like a Slack type environment where posting and replying is free, and voting, although it does exist, does not get any matter created from it. So it's a pretty cool system there too. Let's see here, and one-to-one, Lord a lot. Something that should be noted as well. Let's say you participated in the community process. You're a member, you're an owner, a partial owner of a community layer, and that layer is going nowhere. It could be because of world events, something happened that we thought this was going to be important and it's not anymore. It could be because the community totally failed, or something became toxic, who knows what. So you, and it might not even be anyone else, but you might say, I want out of that. You can of course give the lot away. You can and transfer that ownership. You could sell it however you want, peer-to-peer. It's not up to Den or anyone else. And the other option is you can go back to the lot and lore smart contract system and say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to burn this lot. I want my lore back. And with that, and it's in the white paper, the details, but you only will get back 50% of the lore. So if you have 100 lot for that community layer, you throw the lot back in, it burns it forever. You get 50 lore back. The remainder goes, I believe it's 15% to Den, and the remainder will go to farming. So the lore will go, potential boosts occasionally in the farming world. So let's see here. Next up, layer requirements. Okay, we already described this. This is basically about the proposals themselves. And the end of all this, the whole point of it is to get the best content to the consumer earlier than on any other platform, right? Because quality content matters. That's the whole thing about Den. Okay, so to get started, go to den.social, sign up, register for an account, sign up. We're constantly working on some of the interface pieces, and again, we're getting the mobile app out as soon as we can. So also join the Den Telegram channel for updates, and ask us where that is, because I don't have the link here. And follow Den on Twitter. We'll at least post it there soon. Okay, so now I'm going to run something here real quick, and then I will be right back. Okay.
Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A layer owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community layer. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.
All right, so we're back. Sorry again for all of the technical difficulties. It's me alone today, and some of the screen sharing stuff was not perfect. So anyway, so we have a couple of questions. More than anything, it's important here. If you look, the real denizens on Telegram. So if you see that down to the right, and then @realdenizens on Twitter, and of course den.social/l/dragonden. So you can ask us any questions there as well. So one way or another, we have a question from Brian. Probably the most important question of all is, Brian Howell, will a teenage girl pick up her phone with the app downloaded and make money and start creating with ease? Yeah, that's the whole point. I mean, it's for any normal user that doesn't care about all the economy modeling involved. It'll very much be, okay, I'm going to create some content or comment on something, and it's no different than Reddit or Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or anywhere else, that it will be simple, and it's very much to put on the Dragonchain hat here. It's very much the same thing that we have for other models, even with like say gaming systems, that we think the magic of how crypto works will be most important when people can come into it not knowing it's crypto, not caring that it's crypto, and that not being the selling point, right? That we don't want DIN to be sold as, oh, it's the cryptocurrency or the blockchain-based social network. That's not the framing, the picture that we want. We very much want it to be, for some reason, I'm a totally new user. I've never seen it before, and I keep seeing good content here, right? And I see, okay, I'm back on Den. What is this? That after a while you realize, oh, okay, there are communities here. It's kind of like Reddit. I'm going to join up and I'm going to start getting involved in whatever community interests me there. And once I start doing that, and I'm providing either providing good content, or it turns out I'm a great evaluator, whatever role I have, and it usually a lot of times is going to be a mix of all the roles, that I realize, oh, I've actually generated some value here, right? And maybe it's a few bucks or something like that. Then it'll start to matter. And when you talk about, oh, this is difficult, this isn't, that it very much is a measure of how much value is created. So for someone who has created a lot of value, okay, it's worth going through whatever difficulty you might see. The questions that you will have is like, oh, how do I pull this matter out? How do I use it? How do I do something else with it? That's when it becomes interesting. So the point is that the inbound, the early adoption doesn't require cryptocurrency chops. You don't have to know about blockchain. You don't have to know about economies. You don't have to know about cryptocurrency to use it. But if you're using it well, the rewards will actually potentially turn you on to that world. Okay, Hodl Dragon. When do you consider DIN to be a success? Generally, when we have good content running, So when we have multiple people making good content and being rewarded for it, that's when we consider success. I mean, we have over 200 users on the platform already, which is not a lot, but it's very closed beta, very not heavily pushed anywhere, advertised anywhere, except with community members. So hopefully that will happen soon. And I think once the tokens go out and there is a much more. How do I say? Well, when it becomes more real, because the tokens are really there, you can really withdraw them, you can really bring them in, you can do whatever you want to do. That's going to be an interesting point. That's coming up soon. So let's see here. Okay, again, Hodl Dragon. If I could only name one thing, what's the worst thing about Reddit that Den does much better? Probably, and this is going to be a little more abstract. I mean, I could say scarcity. Scarcity is the basis of everything that we do better than existing frameworks. But I think about Reddit is some of the toxic nature of some of the communities, and not all of them are like that, of course, but a lot of them are. And I know a lot of you out there have seen this as well, that that it becomes, if you're in with the gang and you've been there forever, then it's great. It's all, you go right along. Or if you shut up, you don't ever say anything, then it's great because you get to hear stuff. But if you ever participate and you're slightly out of their, their pattern, it becomes really nasty and it's not fun. And, a lot of it's culture, but we do some things with, and we didn't go over them at this high level because, behind the scenes, they're hard to describe, but they're very, how do I say this? We do community management within the economy. So, the community doesn't have to really even know, and a lot of it's because there's psychological impact to saying, do I want to ban this person? And it's like you don't want to ban somebody, but if the community comes together and how do I say, if the community the community members independently block people for being trolls or being toxic or whatever reason, that blocking is tokenized. You can only block so many people within a layer, and the person is potentially banned. If enough people block them, then they're out of the layer, and it doesn't require any administrative action. It doesn't require a moderator. It doesn't require someone to say, do I want to ban this person or not? With ownership, you will be able to ban people, if an owner wants to do that. And we're working on how we do consensus there. So that's not implemented yet. But right now, you can already do the blocking. Any user can block another user, and they just won't see their posts. And it's simple, and it's a beautiful thing, because as a person, I just know, okay, this isn't good for my day. I don't want to see this person. I'm just going to block them. And if enough people agree, then that person will just be not there. But at least I'm happy right now in the meantime. So it's a really organic, simple system. Let's see here. Awesome. That was this is from Brian again, slight fear. How easy is it for the average person to use? So right now, I mean, it's extremely easy, and we're working on, little intricate pieces of UI, of course, always to make it simpler. So any feedback you have, or if you see any bugs, of course, make sure you tell us. But it is, it's very simple. I mean, you basically can find a layer, you subscribe to the layer if you want to reply or post to it. You vote on stuff if you want to, you read it otherwise. It's all just like using other networks. Some, I even think it's better than some pre-existing forums that are already out there. So it's a very usable thing. Hodl Dragon, will 2024 presidential campaign involve presidential candidates boosting posts on Den? Let's hope, because I certainly, and this wouldn't be up to me, of course, but we can get into difference as well maybe on this question, but that something we didn't cover in this overview was boosting, and it is an alternative to advertising that actually fits into the economy with real risk. So some of the other utilities of Matter that I had brought up but didn't go into earlier are that you can boost a post to get it earlier visibility in a layer. Let's say you have a very active layer, you know, new posts always rolling through all the time, and I have something that, you know, it could be because I'm a company and I'm selling something, but it can also be this is a particularly valid point that this community needs to know about. I can put a certain amount of matter in per day and boost it as if I was putting more energy in. So let's say I don't have enough energy, or it's my own post. I can't vote on my own post, so I can boost it. And what it does is it counts it as higher on the energy row, but it is very quickly evaluated based upon its fit to that community. And if it's bad fit, and the consensus is that this thing is not well received, it'll drop pretty quickly, like a lead balloon, and I will basically lose all the matter that I put in. If it performs really well because I was right, and the community really should see this, then I will get back up to 85% of my matter. So it's just a matter of, okay, it's an early visibility functionality. The other, which is not in place yet, is the ability to boost on the outside, where anyone sharing a post will actually be rewarded, will reward. The booster will reward people who share the post outside of Den. So basically, it's a way for us to pull new engagement into Den itself from Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, email, anywhere. So there's some interesting stuff going on there, and we're modeling out the some extra pieces which will affect some of the equations in the white paper, but it'll all be rolling out in the coming months. And with that, I'm going to cover also real quick the governance process. That right now, of course, it's governed by a few of us that founded Den, and where we determine, okay, here's this change because we found this activity that was gamed or something else. But in the end, and this is in a white paper, there will be a governance board, which is a 3-member board that is made up of one member, which is appointed by Den, the company's board, one member that is appointed or voted in by people who hold matter, okay, and one member who will be voted in by people who hold lot, right? So we have governance in a hybrid space to handle all of these new proposals for changes to algorithms or to new features to roll out, things like that. And that we expect, I think we've said in the white paper that we want to have that in place early 2021, Q1. So that'll be there, and votes will happen, and people will be able to serve in that capacity and help us out. And the reason we did that is so that the business will not be the overriding aspect of it. I mean, obviously the business will be there to produce value and to figure out how to market it and everything else. But we didn't want some of the situations that happened in prior social networks, like say Dig or Reddit, where the board or the CEO made some decisions that were particularly detrimental to how the community wanted to use the system. So we want very much to have that in place because the stronger that community is, and the more decentralized that consensus is, the more likely that the right decision will be made for all the people using the platform. Because you think about that, what happened at YouTube with advertising, and that the actual advertisers have no real say in that. They might have some particular lobbying capacity if they're someone like PewDiePie or something, but otherwise, they're pretty much they have no effect on those rules. So let's see here. What is my favorite layer now, and what layer would you like to see created soon? Wow, gosh, I did love the meme layer, of course. The COVID layer was really good at the very beginning of that. I mean, it's still good, but I don't follow it as much nowadays. The Probably the politics layer right now, but that's just because of what's been going on. And Other than that, the red pill layer, that was always interesting stuff. Things that are conspiracy related. Which turns some people off, but that's fine. You don't have to subscribe to it. You can ignore it. Let's see if I have any other questions up here. Sounds super hard. Where do I sell the matter or energy? So like I said before, the actual, and this is important, that we want it to be usable. All roles of this to be usable for people who have no experience at all, and the only thing you have to do is say, okay, let's say I have 100 energy to spare, that that I see 3 posts that I think are valuable, and they're all pretty new. So if I want to be rewarded for my evaluation, it's as simple as how much of that 100 energy do I put on each of those posts? Do I split it evenly? Do I put half of it all on one post that I think is particularly better than the others? In doing that, I'm providing a signal to the consensus system, just that it was a vote, and I'm also providing an amount which weighs into how much I will be rewarded. So, and if you don't care about that, then you just vote up once on each. It doesn't matter. And on the other side, if you want to, let's say you're a writer, then you write your content, you include your images, you do your thing, and then you wait for people to respond, and you keep the conversation going, and then you're rewarded well. And you can do this without considering the reward part, but people tend to, and it's a valuable thing where. Other than just rewarding my, what I get with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, where I got a bunch of upvotes, so I have a good feeling, right? A good emotional feeling, and they're monetizing that. They're actually selling ads based on that. And what we're doing instead is saying, let's not monetize it. Let's create value out of a spring that matter comes in, and you get a piece of it based upon the quality. So. If you care about the reward, it's an interesting thing. If you don't, it's just as easy as posting, replying, voting on Twitter or Reddit, right? So, it's a relatively simple thing, and all of the back end, and I tend to dive into the details. So apologies there, but we probably need a different front man for Den, right? But the point is, it's well balanced on the back end, on the rewards and the economy side, but for the user, the reader, the writer, and the voter, it's just like any other platform. So we've tried to mesh those and come upon the most properly balanced economy, but at the same time, we also we're trying to basically, put together something that is very usable and simple for everyone, right? Okay, let's see here. Jared Houston, how do you see Den integrating with content creators that are currently building their own websites? What value does Den bring to bloggers and vloggers? This is a good point. That we don't have this built yet, but we've already had multiple inquiries, and we know we're going to do something here where we will, and there's some question of exactly how we'll do it, but the main gist of it is that the comments section on a post will be deployable, embedded into a regular blog, regular website, so that the blog can live in your blog area, but will also be on Den. And we don't know if it's going to require your own layer. We don't know if it's going to be just the comments themselves. We haven't decided what to do with the post, but the point is that theoretically there would be the ability for people to reply to your post, but we have to figure out the economic pieces of it, because and to make it so that it's simple. So if you have somebody on your blog commenting that doesn't have energy, how do you do that? And we know it's doable, and we're already working on it because we have a few people that want to do it, including Dragonchain. We want to basically plug us into Dragonchain so that all of our comments will actually be comments within Den as well. Okay, let's see here. Jared Houston. Den will have a discourse-like feature then in the future. I don't know. Oh, I guess, yes. Yeah, I see what you mean. Not a like feature, but a discourse-like feature. Yes, that it'll be pluggable into your own website. And we just have to figure out how we handle the token economy on that other side. And there are a bunch of different ways to do it, but we do want to make it so that in the end it will pull people into Den, right? So it'll pull them easier. You'll be able to read the comments, obviously, but if you want to make a comment, that we assume you will log in, inside of the blog, and you'll have a Den login then, and you can make all of your comments. And the 24 energy will probably already apply. It'll probably be good enough for something that would be discourse-like, because you aren't going to be making thousands of replies inside of there. So yes, that's it. So looks like that's all the questions. Apologies again to everybody for the beginning. That was the technical difficulties were kind of silly. We're going to have a few more episodes coming where we're going to definitely dive into some more details, business layers. I know we're going to have something on the community created layers coming up. And I believe next week we'll probably have some rundowns and a couple of the more crypto sides of what we're what we're doing, what Den's doing with lore, with farming DeFi, and also with the other tokens as they roll out in the contracts. I mean, we might even have something where we delve into the details of how the contracts themselves work, because that's if you're in the blockchain world, crypto world, they're particularly interesting. Some very neat features that have been built in. So that is everything. Thanks everybody for coming on and for joining us. We'll be back next week, Tuesday again. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and do follow Real Denizens, especially along with Dragonchain Gang and me, Jojo Rowe. Because as this stuff rolls out, we will be having announcements midweek. We have of course covered announcements on this show, but we know that we're going to be having multiple announcements coming up in the coming weeks. So, thanks a bunch. Bye.